What's the fastest way to generate income while you're trying to build a business, knowing that your business is going to take off? It's just not generating the income that you need right now. Well, I got a real treat for you today because I had the opportunity to visit with Dan Miller, author of the book 48 Days to the Work You Love, going on its second decade. And I was able to ask Dan some questions. And this one question I asked him: how does a startup business owner generate income while they're trying to build their business? And he had some really insightful advice. So let's just jump right in to the conversation and hear what Dan has to say. I'll see you there. Hi, Dan.
A friend of mine, Crystal, up in Tennessee, decided to be really frugal. Her husband was an attorney. They decided to live really frugally. And she discovered other women wanted to know her tips. So she started Money Saving Mom. But she understands the online world. She understands SEO and all that, and has grown a massive, massive audience where she can do, $1 million launches of very inexpensive products. She realizes her audience is used to not spending money. That's what she's trained them to do. And so with the way she made millions of dollars. I don't know if she's doing exactly the same thing, but she would say today at Target, if you use this coupon, you get $2 off. And they'd use a coupon and she'd get 5 cents in the back end. That's what she was doing. So people didn't have to spend money with her directly. It was her helping people save money, but she got the back end affiliate money that turned into millions of dollars.
Wow.
When she started selling things to her audience directly, she realized that the $2,000 courses, weren't going to fly. The $1,500 courses, the things we see from online leaders out there, just didn't fly. She finally settled on $37. $37 was a price point where her audience would pull out their credit card and buy. So she created lots and lots of content in that space.
I just wanted to pause here for a second to thank you for subscribing to this channel. And I really appreciate your comments. So let's jump back in where we left off. The part of that, we hope that we won't run out of money before everything starts working.
All right. Here's how I've approached that. And there have been multiple times where I was starting something new. But even like going back for graduate degrees. When I go back for a graduate degree, I always assured Joanne that I was going to maintain our monthly income. Never took out student loan debts or anything. Like when I went back for my graduate degree, my master's degree, I said, I'll always generate at least $4,000 a month. Now, this was years ago, and we could live well on that. So what I would do is, what is it that I can do, not related to the business I'm building, but that I can do to assure that we have that income first. So I'm not putting that kind of pressure on a new business. So I've used multiple things. One is buying and selling cars. I like cars. I understand cars. I can go to a repo auction, buy a car, clean it up, put it in the front yard, and make $2,000 on it. That's what I did when I went back to graduate school. I would buy cars. We were in a college town. It was easy to sell cars, in the $2,500 range all day long. And I'd buy little Volkswagen Rabbits and things like that, just clean them up, put them in the front yard to easily maintain that $4,000 net profit every month. Another thing I did, another time when I was in graduate school, as a matter of fact, was I would put myself out there as a painter to paint people's houses, apartments, and so on. And I've never worked by the hour. I always would bid the job. So I'd bid the job, to paint inside of somebody's apartment, $800. And then I'd do what I needed to do in my college program during the day. And then 9 o'clock at night, I'm pretty well caught up. The kids are in bed, and I'd go work for 3 or 4 hours. But I always did that to generate our income. Another thing I did, this was really when I was building what I have today, but I had gotten the idea. I spent $15.36 on kind of fake leather telephone address book. Now it's tabbed with ABCD in there. When we would write down physical addresses in there,
Yeah.
I would go to a church and say, if you give out a guest brochure, information on your church, it's going to make it out the parking lot or hopefully at home to get on top of the microwave. But people are going to keep it. This they would. It's too valuable. They would keep this. You can have your information here. You can have inside plan of salvation, schedule of services, whatever you want. I'll give you 1,000 of these at no cost at all. What I want from you is the name of people in your church, real estate people, insurance people. Where does your wife get her hair done? Where do you put people up when they come to town? What's your favorite restaurants to go to? I want that list. And I would go out and sell these spots, $3.95 for a single, $7.50 for a double, like that. And I could talk to a pastor on Monday, get a list, hit the road, complete a book, give them 1,000 copies, and put $4,000 profit in my pocket. I did that.
Wow.
So what I would do is I would work those. Christchurch, I realized I could do it for banks, for other kind of institutions as well. I would do that 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks, I was doing something that was going to put hard cash right in our pocket. Then, having done that, then I would spend the last 2 weeks of the month working on my business.
Okay. Yeah.
That's how I grew into coaching and everything else that I do.
Yeah. Yeah. How did you know that idea would work?
I didn't risk any money except the $15 to go and talk to a church. I had seen something similar
Yeah.
that was done, but I didn't have any prototype for it. I had no guarantee that it would work at all.
Yeah.
But I'd worked out what it would take to get them printed. It was not complicated at all, just the printing on there, and had done the math that if I sold those all out for $3.95 a piece, 18 spots, I could produce 1,000 copies and have a significant profit for myself, way beyond what I could possibly get, like working by the hour somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I've always funded my entrepreneurial things by doing something else entrepreneurial, but more specific and concrete and direct and immediate than me building the conceptual idea that I was building on the side.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Now, another point, Caleb, is that your coaching, where you said you can help somebody go from idea to having a website, having something. I love that idea, but when we look at the economics of that, that's a really tough market. You're talking about somebody who hasn't produced any profit, so it's a hard cost. Mm-hmm. It's a sunk cost for them to do that. What I did in that period of time, again, knowing that's where my heart is, what you just described, that's where my heart is. But the reality is, it's hard to get those people to write checks. So what I was doing, the disc profiles, I was using the disc when I was first starting off in my coaching business that I'm doing now. And so I would contact companies, major companies, and say, I'll come in and do the disc. We'll do it on 20 people at a time. And I can help them understand how to maximize their leadership capabilities, the areas where they're going to have challenges, the areas where they'll shine. And I did that. So I was doing a 3-hour workshop, leadership development workshop. There was basically a disc debriefing, $3,500. That's what I would do. So I had companies like, well, here's an example, Deutsche Bank. Contact me. Could you help us with our employee turnover? We promote people, and then 6 months later they leave us. We aren't sure what's happening. Well, it was real easy to show. They were taking people who, because of their faithfulness and their understanding about analytical content, details, figures, facts and figures, all that, they'd reward them by putting them into a position of leadership where the skills required are much different. So I said, okay. I said, I want you to do an internal audit of how much it cost you to lose a person, lost productivity, and then recruiting, hiring, training time, and all that. They came back with a figure, it was like mid 60,000s, which was artificially low, but it didn't matter. I said, okay, if I can help you reduce your turnover by 10%, which I know we can, it'll save you millions of dollars. I said, what I'll do is I'll come in the morning, do one of those $3,500 workshops, do one in the afternoon, again, different people, and I'll stay around for lunch and have lunch with anybody you want me to meet with that may be having a particular challenge. And we'll just make it $8,000 a day. Now you see what I did there? Instead of a reduction, because they're doing two $3,500 workshops, I beefed it up. Their only question to me was, how soon can you start? And I did those for 4 years for Deutsche Bank.
How long did it take you to do the session?
It was a 3-hour workshop.
3 hours.
People.
Yeah.
3 hours for 20 people, 1 in the morning, like 8:30 to 11:30, then 1 in the afternoon, like 1 to 4.
Wow.
But I
Wow,
did, my heart was in coaching the entrepreneur, where he needed to come up with $145 to have me work with him. But here are companies that are writing me checks for $8,000 a day. So I did those to give me the freedom to then start working with the entrepreneurs that I wanted.
Yeah, I get it. That makes sense.
And to start building those revenue streams, like with a book, where the revenue stream was really, really slow, but it had the potential to grow over time.
Yeah.
But I was still doing things daily that generated significant income for our family.
Yes.
That there are 4 areas of business that need to be addressed.
Yeah.
Not just the building, creating. You can do that all day long, but there have to be the transactions. And I go to what is a model where you can be creating transactions right out of the gate. So that is part of it. Yeah.
So there was an idea that I wanted to. Oh, sorry, you were going to say something.
Well, I'm not sure about your question, man. I've never lost the thrill of having the transaction and have somebody cut me a check on the spot.
Yeah.
with these, I didn't make any appointments. It would take too long. If I'd call, they'd say, well, how about next Tuesday? No, I got to see you today.
Yeah.
So walk in, no appointments, knowing that the decision maker would not always be there, but I'd take my chance at those odds of that. And I knew that 67% of the time I'd walk out with a check. Knowing that after a little history, it was relentless. Boom. Somebody going to think about it? Sorry, I'm not going to be back. This is your chance.
That's really good. That's really something for me to think about.
Well, you got to be careful about things that just lock you in, trading your time for dollars.
Yes.
Think like an entrepreneur. It has to be something where, as a project, if it's like me buying and selling cars, that's not getting paid by the hour. Painting that I was doing, not by the hours, by the project. A little more tangible, but still by the project, where I knew I could get the materials for X number of dollars and have big margin there. So I've always approached those, but I've always done something like that while I was building a new business. So I didn't put pressure on myself or have strain financially in our family because I wasn't bringing in that immediate income.
Dan, it's so amazing to be able to talk to you. I appreciate your time. Okay. Thanks again, Dan.
All right. Fantastic. See ya.